Every video game needs characters, and I'm a terrible artist. So one of the things I've been doing recently is hiring other artists, or hiring actual artists, to make me some really cool sci-fi 3D models. Some characters that I can share with you, that I can give to my students in my courses, and that I can make videos out of. And that's what I've done today. I've got a video here with two of the latest characters, and I wanted to show off two different things. First is how to set up some simple animations, which most of you will probably already know. The other thing is a little bit more complicated. I'm going to explain how to use animation layers so that you can stack up a bunch of different animations, and we'll get into some cool and interesting unique animations that this robot's got that I think you'll probably enjoy. Let's start with the basics first. I've got my two characters, and they're both in my project. I've got my Vinditorian, the alien that was made by an artist on Fiverr, and the robot that was also made by an artist on Fiverr. I'll share their links down below, by the way, if you're curious on contacting one of them to have them make some art for you. So I've got both of these characters, and they're in my project. I've got the Vinditorian selected, and you can see on the rig selection of the inspector, he's set to humanoid. If I hit the configure button, you see that I've got all of my transforms assigned, and they all have this Mixamo rig, which to me is a good indicator that the Mixamo auto rigger was used to set this character up. Now that's actually perfect, because that means that I can upload my character to Mixamo just like this, and then go grab whatever animation I might want, like a random strut walking or a punching animation or whatever other thing I might want to grab. I think I'll download the punching animation. To download the animation, I hit download, choose FBX for Unity, and choose without skin. Hit download, and then just save that file off into the animations subfolder. Well, right now I'll drop it into my downloads folder, and then from there I'll drag it into my animations subfolder. Let's do that now. I've got my Vinditorian file right there, and I go find, I don't have an animation subfolder, so I just drop it right in here, and now I've got my new animation, my punching animation. For the animation, I need to go over, select the rig on the inspector with that animation selected, choose humanoid, and then choose copy from other avatar, hit the little search box, and then find my Vinditorian avatar. Hit apply, and now I can use this animation on my character. If I go over to the animation tab, you see that I can press play and watch the animation play, but if I drag my character into there, I can actually see it playing on my character. Now that we have the animation, let's look at how we can use it. I'll go select my Vinditorian, which already has an animator on it. This gets added automatically to anything with a humanoid rig, and it has a animator controller on it. The controller is something I've created manually. You can do that by right-clicking in your project view, choosing create, and then finding animator controller and clicking that. Give it a name and then assign it. Once you have a name there, I'm going to delete that duplicate one. But once you have one, you can just drag it right in here and double click to open up the animator controller window. You can also access this under window, and then I believe it's animation and animator. There it is. You can open it either way. Now that I've got my animator window open, you can see that I've got a base layer over here on the left, and I've got a couple different animations. If I press play, you might notice that those animations loosely match up with the animations available for this alien. I've got a dance, I've got an idle, a drunk standing idle, an MMA pose, and a rifle holding pose. No rifle in his hand, but he's got the pose. So how do we add our new animation to this animator? We'll go back over to the animator, and then find in our project view the new animation that we've grabbed, that punching animation. I'll expand out the FBX file so I can see the punching animation underneath it. And if this says something like Mixamo animation instead of punching, you can click on the animation file, the FBX here, and then find the actual animation clip and rename it here. You may also have duplicate clips here, or two clips. Just check to make sure that the clip that's actually used is the one that has a time that is more than 0 seconds. Sometimes you'll see a 0 and 0 start time kind of empty clip there. You can just remove that if that happens to occur. So I'm going to take my punching animation and drag this into the animator. I'll grab it, drag it anywhere out here that I want. I'm just going to take it right above the rifle idle though, so I can keep things nice and clean. And then I need to make a transition so that we can transition into this punching animation. Actually, I lied. There's one other thing I need to do first. I need to check this loop box so that my punching animation will loop and not just play one time. I want it to continue to loop and stay in this animation until we switch away. I'll scroll down and choose apply, and then we'll go add our trigger or our what is this theory? Transition, not trigger. Well, we need a trigger and a trigger for our transition. So let's go set that up. I'll just stop talking about it and we'll do it. We're going to go to the parameters tab here. This is the layers tab and this is the parameters tab. They look like buttons, but they're supposed to be tabs. We need to go add a new parameter, and here you might notice that we've got parameters for all of the options that we had in that menu a moment ago, and they match up with these ones here. We're just going to hit the plus button, choose trigger, and then we're going to name this punch. We're going to choose the any state. We'll right click, hit make transition, grab and drag. Notice the line that kind of follows along with my mouse, and I'm going to drop it right onto punching. Should make a line straight to punching. Then I'll click right here on the arrow. Anywhere on the line is really good, but I'm going to click on the arrow, and we'll get the inspector for that transition. This is the transition from any state, no matter what state we're in, into punching. This will happen whenever the condition is met, and the condition needs to be added by hitting plus and then choosing the trigger that we want. So we're going to go down and choose punch, and whenever punch is set, this transition will happen. Let's save, press play, and watch what magically happens. We now have a punch option here, and I can press it, and he starts punching. All right, let's stop and demystify things a little bit, dive into how that's actually working. So when I choose one of these buttons, what's actually happening is the animator for my Vendatorian, this animator when I select him, is being updated, or more specifically, the controller is being updated. Well, the animator is being updated with some triggers being set that are modifying the way the controller works. Let's take a look at that. I've got the animator window right here, and I'm going to drag this down below so that we can see the animator and the character at the same time. When I choose a trigger on this animator, it should switch from my any state to whichever state that I've selected for that transition. On our new one, it's punch, so if I choose punch, it should transition. If I choose the rifle idle, I click it and trigger it. You see that it switches into rifle idle, goes right up here because I have that condition set. Same for the MMA option. You saw that little line probably pop right up there. I can hit it again. You see the line go. It just transitions right into it. And I've got that for all of these. Now these buttons, they're simply setting those triggers. So if I click one of these, watch the transition happen. You might not see the little light appear here, but you do see the transition happening. And the way that that happens is also relatively simple. It's a little bit of code, and it's some code that I'll make available for you at the link right here. If you're interested, just go check it out. You can download it, but I'll show you really quickly what that code looks like and how it's set up. I have my canvas here, just a standard old Unity canvas, and then underneath it I've got two panels. Let's go take a look at those in 2D mode. I've got two panels here covering my top left and top right corners. They're both just anchored to those corners. They're 600 by 600, and they each have a script on them, an animator panel script. They're linked up to a specific animator. The left panel is linked to the robot animator. The right panel is linked to the Vendatorian. They also have a reference to a button, and on their start, they loop through each of the referenced animator's parameters, and then if the parameter type is a trigger, I add a button to my panel. So I just create a new button. The add button method will instantiate a new button using my button prefab, which is actually this really cool button from a asset pack that I'll link down below if you're curious about it. I really like using it. It's this neat sci-fi asset that has really cool buttons and UI elements, so definitely check it out. So I'm using that button though, and I instantiate it, loop through all of the children, the text objects, just set the text to match, and then we add a listener. So we get the button component of our button. Actually, I don't need to do that. Let's get rid of that. We just say button.onClick.addListener. This will add a callback, just like if we press the plus button in the inspector, and the callback will call animator.setTrigger, and it sets it to the parameter. And here I just use the name hash because it's more performant than using the name. The name would work as well. And again, if you want the code, you can just grab it in the link down in the description below or go to game.courses/AP. All I ask is that you please hit the thumbs up button or drop a comment and let me know if it was helpful and handy. It really makes a big difference, so I definitely appreciate it. Now that we've covered the basics, let's jump over to the robot and take a look at animation layers and see how they can come in handy and what we can use them for. I've selected the robot, and you can see here that his animator controller is a bit different. It's a robot animator controller that I've made for this character that doesn't have nearly as many states in its base layer. We have an idle state and a dancing state. I can choose the dance option and make him dance, or I can make him idle. I used to have a fly option, but I apparently took that out and broke it. So what are all these other options? Where are they? How are they working? Let's try them out. Let's click on one and take a look. If I hit the toggle head button, you'll see that my head little antenna starts spinning around in circles. I can hit the toggle ears, and right now it's just toggling and spinning that left ear, but it could toggle any number of ears that I want. Watch what happens when I hit the eyes. They start spinning around in goofy circles, and then the hacking one is actually part of a separate hand. Got multiple hands here. There's one where he reaches out, does some hacking, and we'll be doing an animation rigging video on that really soon. So keep an eye out for that. If you're interested, make sure that you subscribe, like, and all that stuff, and just let me know in the comments so that I can make it more of a priority. So how are these working without changing this animation? Notice that our idle animation is playing still, and if I switch to dance, my eyes still spin, the head still spins, everything still works. Oh, and the brain. If I hit the brain will grow and shrink, kind of animate a little bit creepy, but I thought kind of cool. Just need some neat particle effects. By the way, the particle effects I put over this head, I'll link those down in the description too. Really cool YouTuber that's made some awesome particles that happened to be on sale. And I thought, hey, these are awesome. I actually need to reach out to him about maybe doing some stuff together. I think that'd be a lot of fun. All right, let's continue on though. I'm going to stop babbling and tell you how these layers work. So we've got all of these toggle options, and you can see if I switch back into idle, so it's a little bit more normal. When I hit the head option, it turns the head on and off. And you're noticing that nothing changes here. What's actually changing is in these layers. So I'm going to go to my animator and choose layers. And you can see right now that we're on the base layer. That's the one that's highlighted. I can go through the different layers and select them. Let's check the antenna layer. The antenna layer is actually spinning the head or playing the spin head animation. And if I choose the toggle head option, notice that the transition switches out of spin head and into none. Let's take a look at these transitions, and then we'll see how the layers are set up themselves. So the transitions are relatively simple. They're almost exactly like the other animation transitions. On the default state of none, we have no animation at all. So if I click on it, you'll see that this is just a default empty state. You can create one of those by choosing create state, choosing empty, right clicking, and then hitting set as default layer. I'm going to undo that though with a couple control Z's so that I've got my default layer here. Then we've got a transition that goes into spin head based on the toggle head trigger being clicked, and then leaves based on the toggle head trigger being clicked as well. We have the has exit time on for leaving so that it actually finishes up the animation leaving, but off for starting so that it instantly starts and pops into that animation. Let's try it one more time. I hit toggle head, and you can see that it runs. Let's try let's go for eyes. I'm going to hit toggle eyes and watch the eyes spin, hit it again and watch them stop. Let's go take a look at the eyes layer so we can see what's happening there. Same exact thing. So you can see this is really just kind of a duplicated process. I've got multiple layers. On each layer, I can toggle on and off one animation. We could, of course, have multiple, but I like to separate them out since I've got a single thing going on per layer. Now let's go through the process of creating a layer so that you can see all of the steps and make sure that you're not missing anything. I'm going to actually delete our antenna layer completely, take the animator, drag it up by the game view, and then we'll recreate the antenna layer. First though, let's just quickly look at the Vinditorian. I'm going to go find the Vinditorian and notice that he doesn't have any other layers on his animator. Now I'm going to switch back. I just wanted to show what it looked like when you just have a default view. Base layer, no extra layers, the robot with a whole bunch of layers. Let's hit the plus button now and add in a new layer. This will be our antenna layer. And then in our antenna layer, we need to find the animation to spin our antenna. So I think it's called ANTENNA. Let's see, is it spin? Maybe it's called spin something. Spin head. That's what I called it. So we've got the spin head animation, and that's the one that I want to use. I'm going to drag this out into the canvas for our antenna layer. And now if I press play, let's see if the animation just plays or not. So you might wonder and kind of guess whether or not you think the animation is going to play, and notice that it's not. The animation isn't actually happening. Just adding it there on another layer isn't quite enough. We need to do one other thing. Let's take the animator and drag it down here. The other thing that we need to do is hit the gear and then adjust the weight. We need to drag this weight over to the side, all the way over to 1, so that it's weighed in all the way and mapped in so that it actually animates, I guess. The reason for this is that you can mix and match and stack up your different layers so that you have part of a run plus part of an attack playing and kind of weigh them differently. You can also scale them up over time so that it starts and stops, or a bunch of animations kind of blend across each other with the weights. There are a lot of different reasons for it, but we want to change this weight to 1, and we want to change the blending to just be additive so that any other animations that are playing also get added on to this head. Now, one other thing that we need to double check when we're working with this animation is that the avatar doesn't have the bones for this animation mapped up to something else. Let's go take a look at what that looks like. If I go find my robot full, let's go find, if I can find my robot. Where's my robot? I probably just click in the folder that he's in. So if I go select my robot model and I go over to the rig and then I choose configure, I need to make sure that the bones that I'm animating with these custom animations on the heads, the eyes, and everything else aren't assigned as part of the body, the head, or the hand. I actually ran into that issue with the head. The antenna was being grabbed as one of these accidentally, and with the hacking on the hand, one of the wrong thumbs was being grabbed. So I had to fix those up in here, and it's something that you'll need to double check as well if you start doing custom animations on different layers. Let's finish up that animation layer. So I've got the spin head. How do I add the toggle in there so that it actually works? Because I have the parameter for toggling head, it just doesn't do anything anymore. Well, to do that, I need to add in a default layer. So I'll hit create state, empty. We'll call this empty. Whoops, I renamed the wrong one. We'll rename the new state to empty. We'll make that the default layer state. And then we'll make a transition into spin head. I'm actually going to rearrange these so that they just kind of match with my other ones. Right click, choose make transition in the spin head. Choose the transition, hit the plus, and then we'll choose the condition for spin head, or toggle head is what I've called it. And then we'll do the same transition out of spin head using the same conditions. We've got to go choose toggle head so that when we click it again, it turns off. Again, the has exit time I want for the exit only, not for the enter. So I'll turn that off there. Now, if I hit my toggle head, I expect that it should start. Oh, it's not starting. And then it should stop. Start and stop. Let's go take one more peek at this. I've got my spin head there. I've got my layer up. My layer weight got dragged down. I probably did that when I was playing. There we go. Drag it back up while I'm not playing. Press play again. And now my spin head option is back in and my layers are working. All right, I hope that this was kind of helpful for you. I plan on doing a lot more different animation videos and diving into some things like animation rigging, masks, and quite a bit more. If you're interested in that stuff, please just drop a comment down below. Let me know which things specifically you think are interesting, what things you think I got wrong, what things you think I should maybe talk a little bit more about. And please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, share the video. Makes a big difference. Also, if you want to grab these models, let me know which one you think would be best or coolest to release first, and I'll get that out, whichever one wins, I guess, pretty soon, except for the robot one is actually going into my game architecture course almost immediately. So if you're interested in grabbing that right away, if you're a member of that, you'll be getting it soon. So see you all in the next video. Thanks again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and have fun building games and stuff.